Welcome to the FormWriter data exporting video. My name is Ken Utley, President of SIMS, and the purpose of this video is to assist in the understanding of how FormWriter may be used to export data and or statistical information from the SIMS2 database and historical files. During the previous report form creation video, we were able to allude to how FormWriter allows us to export data from the SIMS2 database by creation of a semicolon delimited file. During this video, we will expand on this concept and introduce more data outputs and show how the data can be actually imported into Microsoft Excel. We're going to do a little bit more right now, and this is the report form that we created last time, the RLSC. This time we're going to edit it and do just a little bit more. Instead of bringing it to the screen, we're going to send it out to a printer file. We're going to select that printer file. And this will be the RLSC text file. With this done now, all we're going to do is to simply run this report. It will be in written to file. We're going to open up Microsoft Excel and then start bringing the file into Microsoft Excel. As it starts to read the file, it's going to ask us if it's a delimited file or fixed width. It is going to be a delimited file. In this case, we'll just click Next, not from a tab, but from a semicolon. Now, some files we export may be comma delimited if they're statistical, but we could have used semicolons for all. We're going to click Next. Just click Text and then Finish. As we see now, we've brought this information into our files. We've now imported this up into Microsoft Excel. At this point in time, if we wanted to set our print area, we could do that. As we see, once we get up into here, we can use all kinds of sorting capabilities. Put them in alphabetical order, put them in any kind of order we want. Now, this is a very simple file and only shows some very basic information. Obviously, later on we're going to get to statistical files, which have a much greater influence on the way we do things. But this does show how we can import it into Microsoft Excel. At this point, we can save as. We can save it as a workbook. We've now saved this file back into Excel. Now, there are other ways and other databases that can be exported out of Excel. We can choose to do graphs, statistics, etc., and this is really under the Microsoft Excel capabilities, so I'll let them explain how to do that part. But my job is to really show you that you can get the database into Microsoft Excel for various other things. Now, we've only done a 20-line here, but I have done them into thousands of lines. And in fact, we will import some that actually came from a central station in just a few moments. At this point in time, we're going to actually import a new file. I'm going to come down here and pick some extra things. CS operator response. This is central station operator response. It's one of the standard reports that's provided by FormWriter. and we're just going to bring it up also. It is also a delimited file. Notice in the screen here you can see if it's commas or semicolons or tabs. In this case, it's not a tab, it's comma delimited. This is a little bit more sophisticated, this particular report. First column is priority, then we have mnemonics, then we have our 10-character explanation. I'm actually going to fit this and do this as we speak. Now, you can see the columns go all the way down. These are in priority order for the moment right here. Now, for those of you that use Excel, you know you can right, left, justify them, all kinds of things like this. This shows all the priority ones, mnemonics that were located within this month's history on this particular central station. In here, we'll just look at a few of them here. The priority one, duress, there was one. There were 2 total responses to this particular event. The maximum response, or total response time, I'm sorry, was 2 seconds. Maximum response, 2 seconds. It's only one event. Total calls, the calls lasted for 80 seconds. Maximum call was for 56 seconds. Now, there might have been multiple calls sent out during this duress. The average call then was 40 seconds. So they did make 2 calls. This stayed up on the screen for a total of 1,988 seconds. Since there was one event, the maximum completion time was 1988, and the average at 1988. Let's go back and look at the next. Let's look at line 3 here, which is the fire alarm. It uses the mnemonic FI3. There were 4 total events. The total response time was 16 seconds, so it looks like it took about an average of 4 seconds for each one to pull them off the screen. The maximum response was 6 seconds, so we know that it did take someone 6 seconds to pull it off the screen. We'll just expand that a little bit. Total call times for these 4 fire events, we used a total of 268 seconds of telephone time, maximum 56 seconds, and so forth. Now, as we get lower into the priority levels, it then becomes obvious that priority 4s are not as important as 3s, and 3s are not as important as 2s, because you should see, as we move on down through that, we're going to do one thing here to freeze pane. That way, when I pull those down, I can still see the head of the columns there. Tampers, which are priority 2s. There were 38 total events. The average response time was 11 seconds on those, and so forth like that. This particular central station was pretty fast reacting. All priority levels generally got down to the 8s and 9s, and then they stayed up on the screen just slightly longer. But I would say a very, very good response for this particular central station. And you can see the average completion times. I think the average response times are really the column that's important there. Now, again, this is the type of report that you can create graphic capability outside of Excel. I'm not going to go into that too much, but you can see you can create charts and so forth like that. I'd like to close this one down and just note that we will open another. Well, we can actually open another one here. Here's another valuable report. These are counts that have greater than 130 signals. Again, we're going to get the same kind of thing as it pulls it up. And they are comma delimited. We're going to, again, click the text field there. And we'll just move this stuff over just a little bit. I like to delete that. I always like to take mine and make it bold, the first line. We can click on the second here, do a freeze pane, and move on down this list. In this particular case, we can go over to the total events and start getting a feel for the auto-logged events, total events, and so forth. This particular one breaks down only for different dealers. This is actually broken down for that shows you the signals and so forth. Now, this is a fairly sophisticated report. We can set these so that these are actually export only those that have greater than 130 signals or less than 130, so and so forth like that. You can sort this type of information so that you get these in order. I'm afraid I put those in ascending order. We know that this dealer here had 673 signals and so forth like that. Okay. I will close all those right now. And we'll pick up another report. This is traffic statistics for the central station. This is delimited, comma, bingo, text. Okay, shows each dealer how many total accounts they might have, and so forth like that. The percentage of auto-log signals is very important to find out those dealers that are giving you just a little bit of trouble. For that kind of information. Okay. Without leaning too much heavily on the data that we've been provided, I'm going to close down the Microsoft Excel and just bring your attention again to the standard reports that are provided with your FormWriter. And notice all these reports are on there. You can modify the threshold levels or do as you wish. Most all of these provide the Excel output because all the statistical information needs to go into a file that can be imported into other means. I'd like to draw your attention to a new report right now, and I'm just going to open up the report itself. There is now a time frame report within the FormWriter itself. The standard time frame report that you're used to seeing out of the Sims 2 is the HT report. But probably more important is the HTC report. The HTC report does a very interesting thing for us. It will allow us information. Now, this is the example we've done. You can modify your own, but gives us account number, account name, the date received, the time completed, the zone number, signal description, and zone description. Now, if you can imagine, this can create a delimited file of all signals that are received into your system. And from there on Microsoft Excel, you can do some real magic that you could select by dealer and export that information for a dealer if he wants to import it into his own website or so forth like that. Now, also on these HT reports, I'm going to bring one more thing. I'm going to actually add a report here for a moment, and it's going to be this HTC report. I think this has got a lot of interesting possibilities, and I'm just going to choose 6 p.m. there, or excuse me, 6 a.m. there. HTC report example. Now, when I go, let's say that I did this every week for talking's sake. I am going to select which type of records that I can bring in. If I wanted all strip lines of signals that come through the system, okay, I would choose this one, and now I'm going to bring a strip line of all signals that came through the system. And I could just do it just that simple. Now, this HTC report is set up to do only the strip lines, but also note that on the time frame report I can design others that give me all context. Within the Sims2 history, we break all of these different events down into separate type of history records, and these are the types that you see in the window here. So I could create a form that gives me all operator logins and logouts only, and make that a delimited file that actually imports into Excel and so forth like that. All temp schedule entries, all out of service. So this is a very powerful basic report, this HT or time frame report, because I can select the type of historical events that I really want to project up there for importing into Excel. Now in this particular case, I can select this, bingo, and I doubt that I have any in my example database here. Yeah, I don't really have anything there, but if I created some events, I would have shown the strip lines up there as it is. I hope this video has been helpful, and I certainly thank you for your attention.